Alright, synthetic division works just as well as real division, but it's not real division, it's fake division. Multiplying and adding, okay? That's why it's called synthetic. Okay, operation, exactly. Just a bunch of fakers. Alright, here's what you need to know about synthetic division. Synthetic division, it's basically a shortcut for log division, which is fantastic. When you use synthetic division, you can divide by x minus a root, but you're actually going to use the actual root. You don't use this part. So if it's like x minus 2, what's the root? 2, okay? If it's x plus 7, what's the root? Nope. Negative 7, okay? You use the root. Remember, if you factor something down and it's x minus, if you get it factored down to x minus 2, x plus 7, then x equals 2, x equals negative 7, right? Remember that? We did that. So that's the root. That's what you actually use. Opposite sign. It's whatever the root is, okay? Now, the process for synthetic division is pretty easy, okay? We'll do one together. What? Yes. I think you're going to really like synthetic division, and yeah, trust me, you will. It doesn't work on everything. That's why we still need to know long division. Synthetic division really only works with these linear factors here. Okay, can I move it now? Alright. So let's say that we have 2x squared Alright, so we have 2x squared minus 3x minus 9, and we're dividing it by x minus 3. Now, there are different ways to set this up. I'm going to show you how I set it up. And the process is exactly the same. People just put their boxes in different places. Since they're not boxes, they're just lines and squares because a box is two-dimensional. But anyway, so we're going to use the root. If I'm dividing by this factor, what's the root? 3. Okay, so I put a little half square in there, and I write 3. And then I write my coefficient in descending order. Can't skip degrees. It's just like with long division. If they skip a degree, you have to put a 0 in that one's place. But this one doesn't skip any, so we're good. I'm going to write 2, negative 3, negative 9. I'm going to put a line under it, and then I'm putting a little line right there. That's how I set it up. The book does it differently, but the book is already established that. Okay, so for synthetic division, the first coefficient, the first number comes straight down, always. Boom. You're halfway there. Alright. Then you multiply these two numbers and put the answer right there. So what's 3 times 2? So I write it right there. Then you add these two numbers. 3. 3 times 3. And put the answer here. And add these two numbers. See where we put this line here? We set that apart because this is the space for your remainder. So what's the remainder on this one? 0, which means that x minus 3 was a factor, right? And we found another factor too. I'm not making this up at all. I promise you, I'm not making this up. This is called a depressed polynomial because it lost an x. I'm not kidding you, it lost an x. It was an x squared, now it's just x. That's your answer, 2x plus 3. That's a depressed polynomial. compressed by 1 degree. They do, right? So that's your answer, right there. 2x squared minus 3x minus 9 divided by x minus 3 is 2x plus 3. That's your answer. Okay, now that means that if I multiply these two together, I would get that. Okay? Just like with real division, you say 32 divided by 4 is 8. If you multiply these two together, you get that. Okay? So, that's synthetic division. It's just multiplying, adding, multiplying, adding, multiplying, adding, multiplying, adding. Like we can put 1,000 of them up here, and you would just multiply and add, just like this. That's all you do. Multiply and add, multiply and add. Okay? Let me give you another one to try. We'll do it together, and then you're on your own. I'm abandoning you. I'm leaving you. Okay, I'll put it. Let's say, I'm going to do a skip to 3. 4x cubed minus 2x plus 3 divided by x plus 1. Okay, what goes in this little box right here? -1, right. And then I'm going to list my coefficients in descending order here. But what do you notice about this? It's missing which one? X squared. So I got to put a 0 in its place. So I'm going to put 4, and a 0, -2, and 3. Alright, bring this straight down. And then what happens? Alright, and where is that answer going to go? Under the 0, okay? And then what? Add 0 and -4. That's a tough one. And then what? -1 and -4. What's that answer? 4. Okay. And then what happens? Okay. I added -2 plus 4. Yeah. -1 times 2. -2. And F. You got a remainder of 1 on this one. 3 plus -2. There are 2 steps to this. Multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. That's all you do. Okay? You multiply and add until you get to no more numbers. So this answer, remember this is a depressed polynomial. 4x squared minus 4x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 1. That's our answer. What?
That's the part they're confused.
Just bring it straight down. In order. Drop a degree. Alright, look on page 338 in your book. question A, x to the third plus 1 is g of x, and r of x is x plus 1. And they want us to divide g of x by r of x. Okay? So, if I'm dividing by r of x, what's going to go right here? -1. What about over here? What's that lead coefficient? 1. And then what happens? Yeah, how many zeros are in there? I actually need 2. And then a 1. It's like binary code. It's okay. Don't worry about it. What? Because it goes x to the third plus 1, there's no x squared, and there's no x. And you're not allowed to skip those. Alright, so what do I do first? Bring down a 1. And then what? Multiply. What's -1 times 1? -1. And then what happens? Add. Okay, that's tough. -1. What's -1 times -1? And then what? Add. What's -1 times 1? -1. And then 0. Right. So what does this become? Harper. Okay. No. Alright, so this becomes what? What? 1x squared minus x plus 1. Your mother's room. Drops, that was x to the third. It drops 1 degree. It loses 1x. So it's not going to be x to the third anymore. It's going to start as x squared. Loses 1 degree. Alright, this one is for you on your own. X to the third. X squared. There you go. Okay. What's going to go here? 2. What's going to go here? 4. Okay. Here? Here? Alright. Now here? Exactly. Like you practice that. Like you got together after school and you're like, okay guys, and this is our practice for the answer. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Wait till it gets one.
It gets what? Not today, it won't. I'm gonna record going over the directions. I did not do that. Alright, we're doing the vocabulary part. We're gonna do that. And we're actually gonna do all of these, but I'm just gonna tell you what we're doing. Now, on the problem set, starting with number 1, where it says write the 0 that corresponds with each factor, you're basically solving for x. Okay, notice it's x plus 5, so the 0 is x equals negative 5. So whatever it is, x minus 12, you would put equals 0 and solve that. 2x plus 1 equals 0 and solve that. Whatever it is, you're just solving it, okay? And then, on the back, they give you the 0, and you have to write the factor. Just change the sign, okay? It's okay if it's a fraction. Just change the sign. 13 through, I don't think it's 16, but it might be. 13 through 18, you're determining if it's a factor. How are you going to determine if it's a factor? What do you have to do? Or symbolic division. You have to divide, and if the remainder is 0, it's a factor. Okay? If the remainder is 0, it's a factor. Then they get specific, starting with number 19. 19 says you have to do long division all the way to number 24. And then starting with 25, it says you have to use synthetic division. Okay? So those are specific. The first step where it just says, is it a factor? Not specific, wasn't clear. But the others, very specific.
So we do it all the way 30?
Yep, you're doing all of these. Now, the first 12 will take you about 2 minutes to do. Those are not hard at all. 12. Once you get to past 12, that's when you're going to slow down a little bit. You can do these. So it might take you an hour and a half to do the first 12.